if you mentioned this quote on one of your live streams, I think if you save one life, you save the world.
Yeah.
That's such a cool line. I think I remember reading about Paul Farmer. I think his name is. He's a doctor that really. I mean, doctors in general, they kind of don't care about like what they're doing as a broad policy across hundreds of thousands of millions of people. They just care about the human in front of them, which is so interesting. They don't care it's going to cost, like in his case, to save one child, it will cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars. They don't care about that. They can't. They know very well that what their actions cannot be scaled, but they can't help but help the child in front of them. And it's so interesting. That's such an interesting way to live. And that's the way I kind of think when I try to do something positive is, will this help one person? And I just kind of imagine a specific person, depending on the thing that would help with. Like when I'm trying to create something, whether it's a piece of hardware or a video or anything like that, or educational material, lecture, that kind of stuff. I don't know. What do you think about this quote? Like, what is it profound or just poetic?
I think it's more profound than it sounds at first. The example I think of is Michelle Bachmann. She was a former congresswoman from Minnesota. She clearly had crazy eyes. Something weird's going on with the husband, but she adopted like 20 kids. Terry Shappert's another friend of mine. He's like a either Navy SEAL or Marines. Whatever it is, Terry, I apologize. I'm not trying to be funny. And he adopts like elder dogs. So going back to Bachmann, it's like, yeah, you can say she's crazy, you can make fun of her politics all you want, and all that stuff's legitimate. But if you save a kid, give them a home, and you save them from the foster system, and you put a roof over their heads and make them feel loved and appreciated, it's really hard for me to sit here and call you like a totally bad person. I think that kind of thing is Nick Searcy's another one. He adopted a kid, and I said, I think you're a hero. Like there's some, one of the things that's very hard for me, I'm writing, as you know, I talk about this endlessly, this book, The White Pill, but writing about when people do hurtful things to children, it really is hard to watch. And it's hard because when you're an author, you have to kind of empathize with the character. You have to, where's this character coming from? Explain their point of view. And that's the one that's the hardest for me to wrap my head around. Like
Cruelty to children.
Yeah. And yeah, sadism to children. It's just like, this is something even animals know not to do. Do you know what I mean? Like dogs around, when you see them around kids, they're very protective. Like if the kid pokes their eyes out, the dog doesn't do anything. So it's like, if you can't even get to that level, what kind of person are you? So I think that quote is a profound one, and it's an important one. It also means we're not all called upon to be Superman, right? You only have a very finite ability to move the needle. But at the same time, if you have actually, saved a life, you can go to meet your maker. You did your part. You left the world a little bit better than you found it. And that's all you could ask anybody.
Also, I think from a policy perspective, it seems we just do better when we focus on doing a small thing, helping one person. Because it feels like when you start talking about communism and all those kinds of things, when you start to believe you could do good by a lot of people, that's where your mind somehow stops being able to do good by a lot of people. That's when you start to think about utopias, and somehow utopias goes to feeds power into the brain to where it deludes you completely, and then you start, it's okay to crack a few eggs to make an omelet kind of reasoning, and you run into trouble. It seems like it's much better, even when you have the power and the money and so on, to achieve scale, to focus on one, and then
locally,
yeah.
Because then also you have the feedback.
Exactly.
Right. So if you have some kind of program, in Austin or in Brooklyn or something like that, and you could watch, oh, this is working, this isn't working, then you could port it out to other places. But top-down helping is, at the very least, it's going to be inefficient. And also, I think it's a lot more useful when you're helping people when it's a one-on-one relationship, because then it's less, I don't know, embarrassing, but certainly less something to receive help. And you also feel, if it's one thing if you get a check from the government, food stamps. It's another thing if someone's like, hey, I'm going to buy you groceries until you get back on your feet. You have this kind of motivation, I think, for most people to be like, you know what, this person believed in me. I'm going to make it worth their while that they believed in me. Because I didn't believe in me.
Yeah, I had when I was giving lectures at MIT, there was one was scared shitless, and I mean everybody, you know how students are and all that kind of stuff. They're kind of bored,
Yeah.
and they don't understand that you're a human too. They're yeah, or this just could be just me. But
I don't understand you're trying to pass as human.
I know. But there's one gentleman in the audience, and he went to all the lectures. Older gentleman, he was a faculty at MIT, and he just, without very kind of nonchalant, just said after the lectures, he would kind of nod at me and say, "You did great." And before, like one time, he said in a non-creepy way. I know this is gonna come off as creepy. He said, "You look great today." Like he said that in a I don't in the way, so he's like 60, 70, whatever, like he in this I don't know, it's in a wise sage way,
Oh,
because
okay.
I was wearing a suit and tie. Like I look like, you know, when you dress up like a young kid, you
A bar
dress them up
mitzvah.
for
You get it. Yeah. You get your bar mitzvah. Yeah.
so he was just like, all right,
Yeah.
you're all dressed up, you look great.
Yeah.
You got this. I don't know, that has a lasting impact, that kind of pat on the back. But I agree with you. Cruelty towards other adults is somehow understandable because it's a world full of conflict, but cruelty towards children doesn't it doesn't quite I can't understand it. I can't understand how you could act in a way that directly causes suffering to a child in front of you.